Is ultra-processed food the cause of the obesity problem? So recently I've been reading this book, Ultra Processed People. It is a very, very good book. It's 12 hours long, and if you've not got 12 hours to listen to it or to read it, here are my thoughts and here are my views on it. So what is ultra-processed food? You might have heard the term. It's basically synthetic, chemically made ingredients added to the food to make it an ultra-processed food. Ingredients like artificial sweeteners, emulsifiers, and gums like xanthan gum. It makes up around 60% on average the amount of food that we eat in general people, and in children, in babies, in teenagers, it can make up around 70, 80, 90, even sometimes nearly 100%. So it's pretty safe to say this is like our national diet, and it's what we've been eating for generations. UPF pretty much started with the replacement of butter with margarine, and we've all heard the term, can't believe it's not butter. So it's been massive, like massive in the UK since the 80s really, and it could potentially be, this isn't my view, but it could potentially be one of the biggest causes of obesity. The obesity rates are higher than they've potentially ever been, and this could be one of the causes of it. So I kind of want to describe what is ultra-processed food. So we've got three types of food. We've got whole foods, we've got processed foods, and we've got ultra-processed foods. So number one is whole food. So whole foods is basically food that's come off a tree, come out the ground, or come from an animal or plant. Like take an apple off a tree, for example, or take the fish out the ocean. You catch a fish in the sea and you eat it literally right there and then. That is whole food. Foods that have not been modified at all. So number two is processed food. Humans have actually been doing this for thousands of years. We've been processing, modifying dairy in the Sahara Desert 7,000 years ago. There's actually proof from pottery. They've actually found like dairy residue on there that they've been making butter. This was 7,000 years ago. So we've been processing food for a hell of a long time. That's number two. So number three, we have ultra processed food. Food that is made up of synthetic, chemically made, man-made ingredients pretty much that we've made out of factories, out of like these places to put in our food, like emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners and gums. A great example in the difference of the three different types is looking at dairy products. So when you look at milking a cow, for example, the milk that comes out, that is a whole food. It's come directly from source. And then you look at butter. So butter is basically processed food, number two. So this is like milk that has been processed, it's been heated up through a process, and then once it's heated up, it's actually like the fat that is curdled from that is actually taken from the milk, and that is what we know as butter. And then number three, we've got margarine. I actually need to read this bit out because it's crazy. So margarine is basically liquid plant oil that will spoil quickly, refine it, bleach it, deodorize it, intersterify it, hydrogenate it, emulsify it, then add colourings and flavourings to turn it into synthetic butter. And we've all heard the term, can't believe it's not butter. So I think one of the biggest problems for me is people are thinking that they're getting the nutrients in through the food. They think they're having butter, but they're not. They're having a man-made butter, margarine. So instead of getting all the nutrients in that you're going to get through in butter, it's man-made chemicals that you're eating in margarine. So you're not really getting the nutrients from that. So this is like the big problem for me with ultra-processed food. So when you actually think about it, these companies that make food, but the majority of our food nowadays are actually businesses. Their number one goal is to make more money. It's a business. A business thrives on making more money. So instead of like what should be their goal in providing good, healthy, nutrient-dense food, it's actually to make you buy more of it. Like Coca-Cola is a great example of that, because Coca-Cola is actually containing a hell of a lot of sodium. Sodium dehydrates you. When you're dehydrated, you want more. So when you're drinking Coca-Cola, it actually becomes a bit addictive from the sodium levels in it because you want more of it. Your health is not their priority. Selling their products is their number one priority. So all these man-made chemicals that are actually added into these products, one, make it a lot easier for them to mass produce, to make it cheaper for them to produce and to sell. But two, they're also designed to make it tastier, to make it more addictive, to make you want to buy more of them. Another example, take Pringles. Pringles aren't actually made from potato. They're actually made from something called dehydrated processed potato. And one of the sayings that I think we've all heard plenty of times when it comes to Pringles, once you pop, you can't stop. And it's so true. Pringles are so addictive. I don't think anyone has ever like left a can because they're so addictive. I know I am certainly guilty of this. I've got a sweet tooth, but how many times have we take like a bag of sweets, a bar of chocolate, or a bag of crisps, have we said, right, I'm just gonna have this handful or this bite, put it back down, and then it's calling us. We literally go like 2 seconds later and have another handful and then put it back down. Right, that's my last one. Have another handful, put it back down until the bag's gone. Like, these foods are actually designed to be addictive. They're designed to be really tasty, like the crunch is perfect, the like juices coming out of them are absolutely perfect. They're addictive because the more you eat of them, the more you crave them, the more the businesses are actually gonna like thrive. So their job, like I said, I know I've said this a couple of times, but their job is to make you eat more of their food, their products. Like take a steak or potatoes or fish, for example, like whole foods majority of the time. Like they're not addictive because like you don't get addicted to something like that. You never eat that and think, oh, I need to eat 2, 3, 4 more of them. But if you eat a chocolate bar, you do. You eat one and you're like, I could eat another 2, 3 of these. Like you don't get the same addiction from whole foods that you do get from these like ultra processed foods. So lastly on ultra processed foods, really, we're not designed, like evolutionary, we're not designed to be like consuming these chemically made ingredients into our bodies. So our gut controls a lot of our human emotions. It's actually known as our second brain, which is why if you get nervous, you actually get butterflies in your gut, because our gut controls a lot of our human emotions. So when we're eating these chemically made ingredients, they're not designed to be in our gut. You might have heard like a lot of TikTok and these sort of things talk about the gut microbiome is actually messed up when we're digesting these chemically man-made ingredients which were never designed to be put inside of our bodies. So let's say, I'm not saying it is, but let's say these chemically engineered like ingredients are messing up our gut microbiome and actually like damaging our hormones a little bit. This could have a massive impact to so many different areas, and it could be, I'm not saying it is, but it could be one of the main reasons for all these modern day sort of illnesses that we have. Like anxiety is massive nowadays. Like I say, your hormones are controlled from your gut. A lot of your emotions are controlled from your gut. Like we release serotonin from your gut, which is a feel-good hormone. So like it could be one of the reasons that our anxiety is through the roof in the modern day world. Like we have obesity problems, we have digestive problems. Like I'm a celiac, that meaning I can't eat wheat or gluten. My gut isn't like a normal person's, intestines aren't like a normal person's. That could potentially be, and I'm not saying it is, like this is just something that I'm thinking about, that could potentially be from years and years and years of evolutionary processing and ultra processed food that's actually creating these sort of diseases. Like a lot of people now are bloated all the time, they've got really bad sort of digestion, they're constipated, they've got diarrhea. This could potentially be from all of this food that we're eating. And nowadays I know a lot of food is made up of this ultra processed food, and I'm not doing and saying any of this to put anyone off it. So where do I stand when it comes to this? So I've always gone off the rule, the 80-20 rule. Try and get 80% of good, healthy, nutritious ingredients into your diet. Try and get whole foods in as much as possible. And then for that other 20%, try and have a little bit of balance. I'm not saying cut out ultra processed food all the time, because one of the best ways to actually stick at a diet is like finding a way to make it something that you enjoy. And if you cut out all the food that you like, and if you enjoy chocolate, if you enjoy sweets, if you enjoy crisps, if you cut it out, you're only going to crave it more. So it's all about finding a balance that works for you. But if you're eating 80% of whole food, getting fibre in, getting protein in, getting the right micronutrients and macronutrients into your diet, then you're going to be getting like enough nutrients in. Like I say, these ultra processed foods don't contain, they're not nutrient dense like whole foods are, but there is room in a diet for it. Like they're a lot cheaper, and I understand like that is one of the main reasons for buying ultra processed food. It's a lot cheaper, it tastes really good, but at the same time you've always got to ask yourself, am I eating this because I'm potentially addicted to it, or like it's something that I can't stop the cravings from, or am I eating this as a bit of a treat and I can control it? So it's always worth thinking about, and this is kind of why I want to make this video. And I've always been the balanced guy, I always have. I enjoy sweets, I enjoy chocolate, I enjoy things like that. So I just wanted to put this out there because a lot of people could have problems that might be related to eating too much processed food. Even like the diet industry nowadays, like all these high protein things, a lot of them are ultra processed, which is fine. Like I drink quite a lot of those kind of things, but it's always important to remember to try and get whole foods in as much as possible. So I just kind of want to make this video. Hopefully this has helped. If it did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.